Hello, hello guys. I probably won't be able to fit in more than 1 or 2 games tonight, but still, I want to play. I was very much debating on whether I should play or not, though. Because I could have just done something else as well. I see that I probably have missed the queue. Maybe. I hope the queue won't be too long as a result of it. We'll see. Excuse me. No. Oh, I feel like I shouldn't have made that. That felt like cheating. Wait for it. Ow. What's the game? It is called Cluster Truck. Came out in 2016. It's a pretty old game, actually. Oh shit. Oh, there's a fan! How did I get past that? Ow. But it's a nice queue game. Just a fast-paced racing type game that doesn't involve actual racing. No, get me up! No, the goal is on the trucks. Okay, I get it. I see. I just have to survive on the trucks midair. Oh, okay, I made it. Bit sloppy, but I made it. Oh, I'm doing the same shit again. Oh well. It just didn't go to the next world by itself. I see. Damn it. Patience is a virtue. Pretty easy map, but usually the first ones are. Fake goal. Ow. Wait. Is the real goal behind me then? Or, actually no, I think I get it. It says goal. This one says goal. Surely I don't just have to just go backwards, right? It's so stupid. I thought there was more to it than that. Damn it. Ain't no way I should have made that. No, okay, I died anyway, so whatever. Keep me up. I got stuck in the truck's ass. Oh my god, I flew way too high. Damn it, I didn't have my double jump. I'm banning, actually. I really want to play something else, but I feel like solo is a bit weird at the moment. Because there's like a few things you can meet that I feel like just unbeatable. You ain't winning against that shit. Probably just ban Thor. Like Bracken and Thor, I feel like are definitely the hardest ones to deal with. I would rather meet Thor any day than fucking Bracken though. I think Thor is definitely annoying when you start rotating and stuff. He just has that presence with the ultimate, but I'll grab this guy, Aladdin. I'll do a Chuck game. It's been a little while. Haven't played him that much since the aspect Chuck isn't that good anymore. I kind of want to try him with all the builds happening at the moment. I wonder how he is with Erendite. No, I screwed that one up. That was a good jump. Well, mistakes. What? Damn. Thought it was safe. No, I thought I had my double jump. I just pressed spacebar too much. I accidentally double jump without realizing it sometimes. I mean, I could just jump past. It's probably safer for the most part. Maybe not. Now I'm doing shit that I'm not used to. Alright. What do you even build on this fucking character these days? I don't know what the jungler is. Hercules, maybe? Suppose I'll try Blink for the initiate anyway. I'll just do Sunder. Fuck it. Axe Chalk sounds kinda ass, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I want to do that. We have quite a nice...
Yes.
Quite a nice late game comp, if we get there.
Minions have spawned.
Bit late on the Sunder, but just still make it in time. Get my one creep.
I will ward.
He's gonna be behind on pots, but he's gonna be a bit tanky.
First blood. Your right tower is under attack.
Good gank.
An ally has been slain. Okay. An ally has been slain. Okay.
It's not looking good overall for my team here.
Defend. Okay. Okay.
That sucks. I thought Hades had ult. I was actually just waiting for that. So I just kind of went for it. How much is Erendite? Just to fully buy it? I'll stick around. I just need 200.
Enemy missing right.
Enemy missing right. Be careful.
Ward the Gold Fury.
Like ADC and the dual lane in general is just gonna be the most important shit in this meta. Whoever controls duo just gets gold.
Destroyed the Gold Fury.
Yep, there it is.
Execution. No traces left.
It's gonna be pretty boring meta, I think, for a solo laner.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain. Killing spree.
You guys are so bad!
Take me.
They haven't fixed the Aladdin bug here.
Be right back.
Still hear it every time he dies.
You have slain an enemy.
Probably didn't need to. Aaron died. I wanted to make sure that he died. Probably also means I can't invade this time.
Your right
Without
tower
my Sunder.
is under attack. Rampage.
He didn't go for it though. So I guess I'm doing it.
Your right tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
That's good. We got a block? Anything? No? That sucks. Guess I'm losing my wave then.
Tower is under attack. Be careful.
I'm actually sad I didn't get hurt. I thought my axe was gonna finish him off.
An enemy has been slain.
Completed.
Your left tower is under
Must have
attack.
missed, or he dashed.
Your right tower is under attack.
Okay.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Gotta be a bit more careful now. Think I need some protection before I can actually fight him now.
An ally has been
This guy is so boosted.
I'll stick around if he's gonna do this stuff like that. I want Mystic Mail on this back.
Your right tower is under attack.
Definitely risky. I think this build is kind of bad. Like not having... I think I need to go Mystic Mail first and then maybe go Arendine. Because you're definitely squishy. Real squishy.
Enemy missing.
Retreat left lane.
Retreat left lane.
Unstoppable.
Bro, this Hades is trolling. This Hades is trolling.
Yeah, fuck you and your hardest jungle pick.
It's just so mad. It's crazy.
Bro, you're they're blue. On their blue, you fucking mongolid. Bro, who are you, man? Who the fuck are you? Fucking idiot. No one knows you, man. You piece of shit.
It's funny, I feel like this kind of like a recurring thing in my first games. It's always like this. Past few streams.
Your right tower is under attack.
I don't want to press my heal. Just out of just habit playing the aspect.
Enemy missing right.
Just wasting mana.
An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
Enemy missing.
Your right tower is under attack. Your right tower has been destroyed.
Bro, you're 5 level behind from the Medusa.
Okay, man.
Yeah, you're dog shit, man. You are one of the reasons, man. You're fucking dog shit.
This is not over.
Dude, that's still so loud. It gets me every time. The fucking Aladdin death noise.
enemy team has destroyed the pirate. Your middle tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack. Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Yeah, actually what he did here. I think on Chalk, I feel like not going Bluestone is just gonna be terrible. You're gonna run out of mana.
Your left
Permanently.
tower is under attack. The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Give me this fucking XP.
Your left tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Enemy missing left. Fellow Shinobi, I see.
Middle. Retreat left lane.
Enemy missing right. Have found.
Time for the big reveal.
Has been slain.
Guys, why are you chasing the Capri and leaving me?
This game is
Bro,
anyway
this
over.
game is over. This game is over. I'm trolling at this point. I don't give a fuck. My bad, Chuck, but this Anhur is not a human being.
Your left tower
Yeah.
has been destroyed.
It would be easier if people just calm down. One of the issues in online games like this is that people start focusing on someone else rather than themselves. That's the issue. Could we definitely still win this? Yes. Because I can control the shit out of the Fed Medusa eventually. It's gonna be hard the later the game goes,
Slain.
but I can deal with the ADCs, especially on something like Chuck.
Your left tower is under attack.
It's turn. That.
They were just all fucking.
They're doing FG.
The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant.
I'm not sure how much might I'll play in this meta, because it's gonna be so boring dealing with ADCs who just control their lane so hard that every objective is gonna go to them. I can't believe we somehow got worse and worse metas in Smite 2. Like, the last few patches have been so bad. Just looking back at it. It actually just made the game worse. In states where I thought it couldn't really get much worse.
Be right back.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
We'll see though, like, I'm still keeping up in farm. I may be able to do something. I doubt it though.
Retreat right lane, right lane.
Your right tower is under attack. Your right tower has been destroyed. Your right Phoenix is under attack.
The shadows. Take me.
Shut down. Your right Phoenix has been destroyed. Chase the enemy. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Like, that would have been really good if we weren't so far behind. It also was very unfortunate that I got CC'd. I'm not even sure what CC'd me when I tried to ult. Or when I went in.
Enemy team
Might have been
has
the Agni
destroyed
Bombs.
the pyramid.
Or Agni Stun.
Tower is under attack.
But that was really annoying. That could have been so big. Yeah, I'm feeling fine. It's just tired, I guess. I feel like normally on a day like today, I wouldn't have had my cam on, but I streamed for so... it's going to be a very short stream today. I don't have a whole lot of time, and I just thought, fuck it. Didn't really have any reason not to just put on cam, except for just being tired.
Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
Demon. You're a demon.
Your left tower is under attack. Your left tower has been destroyed.
We just can't waste Hades and Juggled on, like, the tank Hercules, who is more than likely not going to die from this. That sucks, man. This Kepri is such a pain in my ass. Just spamming my things. Whoops.
The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant.
This meta is terrible. I hate this meta.
Retreat right lane.
It's actually super fucking boring, I'm not gonna lie. This might be the most boring meta we've had in Smite 2. We had some pretty shit ones. I can feel the passion leaving, boys.
Has arrived. The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
This could actually be really big. he definitely just TP'd. Whatever, I'm back in.
Your right Phoenix is under attack.
How are we losing the Phoenix when none of the carriers are hitting it? I don't understand. What, man?
Has been slain.
I don't understand how that happened at all.
Killing spree. Your Titan is under attack.
Hey, Hades and Anhur. Anhur never play carry again, and Hades, you're on a troll list, man. You will never win a game again. If I'm in your lobby, I will always troll your ass, you fucking retard.
Online games. I did not have fun. Thank you very much. This game. I don't think you say damn either, can you? I don't think anyone on my team really played this particularly well once people started getting mad. Because they were just too busy typing in the fucking chat. Just play the game. We absolutely had a chance to win this game throughout. We had some really good fights. But literally everyone in this started arguing. It's so bad. All you need is a mirror. Stop focusing on shit around you and just look at yourself, man. Hopefully I do not get the same team. I cannot be asked to do that again. No, damn, that's a tight spot to try and get through. Too high. Damn it. Damn it, these fucking trucks are too RNG. They never do the same shit. Oh, I almost didn't make that. I thought I was gonna die. Oh my god. Got a truck in my face. Who's shooting trucks? Who made a truck gun? Oh my god. Oh my god. Is that how I'm going to get through this? I have to land on the trucks? I see the goal down there, so I guess so. No. Yep, that is in fact the way I gotta do it. Interesting. Well, this is where slow-mo is gonna come in real handy. I'm dead. No. Oh my god. I am below. It worked. Somehow. I actually made it. That's a tough one too. It's pretty fun though. Okay, it got steeper. The queue is atrocious today. Like, holy shit. Oh my god, I tried to land on a truck. Just kept going further to the left. Why did I jump? Damn it, it was so much faster than me. Damn, they're fast in this one. And I keep underestimating it. This... I need to be much faster, I think. Somehow, I gotta be faster. Oh. Oh my god. It does seem to get some momentum if I actually just stay fast. Oh my god, it's too fast. It's also a bit RNG on where the trucks land. I feel like I need to be a bit lucky. Sometimes they're just straight up fucking faster than me. Cannot catch up. Oh my god. It's still there. I don't think I'm making this. Damn. I made it so far too. Dude, the queues today are way too fucking long. You're giving me 2 10-minute queues in a row. On a day where I barely have any fucking time. Don't like it. No. I feel so scammed out of that one. I don't know why I'm jumping after it. I'm just too greedy. I want to keep staying fast when I could probably just sit on the truck and get into the goal that way. I like this map though. It wants me to be fast. This game is a bit more fun when you actually just allow it to be super fast. The patience levels aren't super fun. I missed. Oh, I accidentally pressed out. Shit. That kind of fucked with my momentum.
Select your god.
No, man! Got the truck in my face. I'm not even showing it. Whoops. There we go. That's nice. Damn, gears. Just conveniently placed cars or trucks for me to jump to, it seems. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Hmm. I gotta be faster. It starts to get difficult. Okay. Probably a beats game in this one. Just because of bots. Noobs as well, I suppose.
Drinking is for the halls.
I'm against the Noobs. Dude, I don't even know anyone on my team. Like, Impact is probably just gonna fucking run it around in the jungle. Not really sure what I can do about this.
Hi.
I know it's been tough for you, but you should always try to smile. Don't worry, I'm full of energy. Don't worry, I'm full of energy. I know it's been you should always the moonlight reveals you for what you truly are. I know it's been tough for you, but you should always try to smile. I know it's been tough for you. I know it's always tough for you. The moonlight reveals you for what you truly are.
I mean, they don't have a good team comp all that much. Or rather, they... I mean, they do have, but... I guess what I'm trying to say is I think ours is better. And we have a lot of CC. I think if we get a lead, we should definitely be able to roll with it. I am mostly afraid of what potentially might happen around duo. As usual. It's just too easy to do objectives now. Like, solo control is important once Fire Giant spawns, but if their ADC is ahead and they just TP over, they can do fire so fast anyway that it won't really matter.
And there it is. Be careful. Your failure clear as Raw's light. Your right tower is under attack.
Go creeps. No. Damn it, man. I feel robbed.
Retreat middle lane.
Cancel that.
This matchup is gonna be really annoying once he gets a few more items and levels.
First blood.
I'm going for a jungle buff.
Oh, it's a lucky ramp. That sucks.
Go ahead. Take another shot. Slay an enemy.
Attack!
Cancel that. Enemies in left lane.
Going for a jungle buff.
Cancel that.
You already did my blue? Damn, man.
Slain. Be careful. Be careful. Completed.
Oops. Over 10 years of Smite and I still can't remember the fucking commands.
Attack middle lane.
Awesome. Your right tower is under attack. Be right back. Be careful. Enemy missing left.
Attack right lane.
Enemy missing left. Cancel that. Slain.
Attack right lane.
We definitely reached a point where I don't want to hammer him anymore for no reason.
Awesome. Ultimate is down. An ally has been slain.
Because his one is just gonna chunk me. Assuming he is leveling his one.
Woohoo! Enemy spotted.
Help! Ultimate is ready. Enemy spotted. Your left tower is under attack. Awesome.
Glad he didn't invade it because my jungle decided not to just come over here and help.
Your
For some
right
reason.
tower is under attack. Be right back. Be careful. Going somewhere? Your middle tower is under attack. Thanks.
was a risk.
Your right tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
Probably just gonna have to go for early beats.
Attack the Gold Fury.
Double beast won't work, or won't be bad rather, into their comp, so should do the trick.
Killing spree. Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain. Attack the Gold Fury. Yes.
So far it's going pretty well. Kepri's getting fed.
Enemies behind us. Killing spree. Awesome.
Didn't think he was gonna be in front of his tower.
Cancel that. An enemy has been slain. Your left tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
Attack left lane.
Your right tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack. Enemy missing left. The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Okay. I mean, I'm fucking tanking it. Don't know why he's not just going in.
Enemy spotted. Double kill. Rampage. The pilot has arrived. Your right tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack.
That was just unfortunate timing. I even tried to beat it just to see if I could actually finish her off. It just sucks we didn't get him when I was tanking for him.
Is under attack.
Because he didn't even ult in the beginning. It should have been perfect on an easy kill for us.
Completed. Awesome.
Hello, Kami. Good to see you. Yeah, my last game was terrible. Just a very unfun lobby to be in. This one still remains to be seen. It happens sometimes. He actually backed.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just get tower, I guess.
Go ahead, take another shot. An ally has been slain.
LTV, actually. Screw it.
Double kill.
No, I don't want to.
Unstoppable. Shut down. Your left tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
missed.
Your left tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack. Your left tower has been destroyed. Your right tower has been destroyed.
I'm so dead. Bots is gonna rotate over.
On my way. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Double kill. Divine.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so boring, man.
An enemy has been slain.
It's so boring with this meta. Because whoever just gets... I mean, right now it's just low elo metas, or like low elo games. And my team's just getting shit on by their jungler twice now. It's not really much to do as a solo. Like, I'm just sitting, watching it burn. Hey, French.
Has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed the pyramids.
Today is definitely the least fun I've had in Smite 2 for a long fucking time.
Ally has been slain. Double kill. Immortal. Okay.
Ain't no way he's still gonna get away from this.
Your middle tower is under attack. Go, monkey, go! Going down. Your middle tower is under attack. You have been slain.
It's cooked. I would probably guess that Impact has more SR than me, so I don't get why I'm the one getting this team. No. The best viewers. Dude, the meta is fucking terrible. It is the least I've wanted to play Smite 2 since it came out, probably. It's actually so boring. The game is over before I leave lane in solo.
Ultimate is down. Light up my world. Be careful.
It's wild.
Ultimate is ready. Hi.
Be careful.
Hi. On my way.
You have slain an enemy. Your right tower is under attack. The enemy team has destroyed the gold.
Sure, just TP'd in. That was stupid.
You have slain an enemy. Double kill. Killing spree. An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a right enemy. Awesome! The pyromancer has arrived. Thanks.
On my way.
Like what do we build? Right, I forgot Roofforged actually. I should have bought Roofforged earlier.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Like, It just takes no time to do any objective in the game, and it just feels horrible. Like, as solo, you're just waiting for objectives to happen. Like, if duo lane loses, right now the game is so reliant on duo lane, like, having control, because you just one-shot gold. You just snowball off of doing objectives. Like, solo is definitely powerful. Like, you see it with Caprakan and Thor being very, very prominent. But my god. Is it really boring when my duo lane loses early? And there's just nothing I can really do about it.
An ally has been slain.
We definitely still have a chance of winning this game. Like, it's not over. We seem to have decent players in this one, so. Oops. Just want to leech. Oh. I could have played that better. Should have missed my ult.
Your right tower is under attack.
We need some answer healing.
I feel that in the morning.
I'll defend right lane. Bad.
Retreat! Your right tower is under attack. Enemies at the Gold Fury! Enemy spotted! Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Attack the Gold Fury!
Attack the Gold Fury! An enemy has been slain. Awesome!
Help!
Help! Awesome!
You don't need help.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury. Slain an enemy.
What? TP? You even went off. You made the sound. Why would you betray me like that?
Attack right lane!
Unstoppable. With
Awesome!
attack.
Damn. Didn't get beats off in time. Close.
Your team has destroyed a right enemy tower.
Got the Sunder for it though. Don't pull fire, Mr. Camille. Don't pull fire.
That was close.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to TP. It went off too, on the sound at least. That shit did not want to TP. It must have just been right at the edge of the wall. I might still be able to squeeze one more game in, French, if you want to do a quick duo queue game after this one.
Attack!
Alright, sounds good.
Your team has destroyed the pyromancer.
Enemies in right lane.
Huge. Slightly off the mark. That's okay though. I just had to get in front of him.
I'll defend.
Okay. No problem.
Enemies incoming. Enemy spotted. Enemy spotted.
On my way. Enemy ultimate incoming.
Your right tower is under attack. Rampage. Double kill.
That was close.
Team has destroyed the fire giant.
Right lane.
I'll defend. Drinking is for the whole.
Hey Dutch, thank you so much for the raid, man.
Awesome. Enemy missing right.
Hope you had a good stream. I certainly haven't so far. This one's going well now though. This one started kind of rough. Every game you play I regret. Relatable. Relatable thoughts. Usually I don't feel that way, but today I do.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury. Your left tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack. Left lane.
Kind of feels weird not going for Pridwin. Maybe I should still do Pridwin.
Okay. Be careful middle. Retreat. Group up. You rock.
Group up.
Awesome. Be careful. Retreat.
Like, I don't know why they're pushing up in mid as two people. That's such a bad idea.
The pyromancer has arrived.
No, let me at least get Magi's.
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Aw, man.
Attack middle lane.
Your team has destroyed the middle enemy Phoenix.
Attack right lane.
Enemy Phoenix.
Attack left lane.
Thor is just so good for popping Magi's.
On my way.
Attack.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons why Thor is as good as he is just
Victory.
something that is always incredibly good on Thor is always his walls. It's so useful. And Smite 2 right now doesn't have a whole lot of jumps in the game just yet. Like to a like none of the huge really good gods actually have jumps right now, so invite right. Already forgot. Do I have you? I don't think I have you. I feel like my name is easier to spell than yours. Is it the French or just French? How do you spell how do you spell emperor? I forgot. You know what? Maybe you just invite me. I forgot how to spell I mean, you're actually in chat. I could just copy paste your name actually. Fixed. Just add you while I'm at it. It's always the E and the O's that confuses me in the end. Yeah, no game is normal today, Impact. My last game was atrocious as well. This one was fucking stupid. My whole team was arguing in the comms this whole game. And I could not have done any more damage in this game than I did. I doubled anyone else. Anyone! I did doubled it. It was a terrible game. But you can't win them all. Shit happens. It's not really worth letting it get to you. Even if it sucks when it keeps happening. But if it keeps happening to me, I'll just take a break and just not play. It's not worth it. Whoops. I don't know how to approach this one. Yeah, it's so hard to turn. Gotta somehow get through all of them also in time. Damn it. I make it? I make it? Yeah. Kinda cheated a bit. I skipped the truck. Ow. We're probably gonna have a long SQ, I would imagine here, Emperor. Mistimed it. Gotta be fast. No, that was actually a nice one. I felt it. Didn't think I was gonna make it. What the fuck is that? What a brutal finish. Damn it. No, I guess I hit my feet. Sure, I can throw an ad for you, Kami. That's true. If I run one now, I suppose it won't happen during the game, right? I'll do it. I guess it won't matter for the people with ad block, but I'm doing it. There you go. I usually don't do this. Okay, so they were disabled for 21 minutes. But yeah, Okami, like you should go into ranked as well. If you're here at least. I don't know if you still hear me, even though I'm running ads at the moment. But going into ranked is, like don't think too hard about it. Like it will be frustrating and annoying in the beginning. It always will be, but ultimately it's about whether you think you can get anything out of it. Personally, I'm someone who generally stays away from ranked when I play new games. Like the only game I pretty much ever played ranked in is Smite. And that's just because I made it to a pretty high level of play where I felt confident enough to go into ranked. Otherwise, I would have stayed the fuck away. I don't like ranked in games. You just get all the sweaty nerds who's gonna rage at you for doing a single mistake, even though that doesn't make any sense when everyone makes mistakes. I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't know how that happened. Whoops. That sucks. Yeah, I mean that's true. If you don't like playing one character, you're definitely at a pretty big disadvantage. I would definitely recommend having at least 5 characters to play and in like at least 2 roles. Otherwise, you're definitely gonna struggle, and it's gonna be real bad for you if you get a different role than the one you want. What? No. There we go. Yeah, it might be easier for you once there are more supports in the game. Or just guardians. Luckily, we do get Cerberus next. I am looking forward to that. He's gonna be real good, or potentially. It depends on his damage numbers, obviously, but with his kit, he should be pretty good in the current meta. In solo, at least. Probably support as well. Like, He's one of these big, like really, really powerful anti-healing, like natural anti-healers. We could use that right now, I think. Dealing with shit like Anubis. Like, you just cannot play Anubis into him. He's gonna be real fucking good with Lightbinder, I'll tell you that. No, it was so close. Damn it. So, stop. No, you shitty whatever you are. Oh yeah, Cthulhu as well. Damn, Cthulhu would be super good. Actually, maybe he wouldn't be that good, because Kins at the moment is very prominent. You just go big and you're gonna die. Alright, I want to see what's happening in this Picks and Bones. Thor is open again, but I don't think I want to play Thor again. Kins has been on and off here and there, but in Smite 2 so far, ever since it was buffed the first time, it's been good since. That's for sure.
Select your god.
I kind of want to play something magic, but I don't think there's anything magic that's good and still open. That isn't so big. I don't want to repeat what happened yesterday. That was such a boring game. I suppose there's Hades, actually. Don't want to play Hades, though. I'll do Hades, actually. Sure. Fuck it. Hades it is. Into Thor, it's gonna be a bit scary early on, but probably just need to sit in tower for the first few levels. Assuming it is a Thor solo. Hades is still nice in that he doesn't really have a bad matchup, straight up. He generally does pretty good into everything. Or has the potential to, either way. You definitely can screw up. And some things are tough to deal with. It's hard to see here, what the hell, it's so bright. My eyes. But I think generally Hades can do he can do something into anything. He's got a safe kit. Jump! Damn, there's just truck hell. So many death trucks in here. Living their worst lives. I jumped too far. Yeah, the poor little trucks. What have you done to deserve this? Probably a lot of shit, because holy fuck, man. We've been through hell together, me and all these trucks. Oh. Yeah, I can see the game in the back, so... And usually I think it pops up as well, if you're tapped out. What am I dealing with? I can't even tell. But I'm gonna beat this game. Blink Hades is dead. Odin, though. I have not... Oh, this is actually kind of a big lobby. Alright. Glad I went Hades and not something else. Because I was thinking about playing Zeus. The entire Spanish armada. Yeah. It's also on my team. I feel like they might have the advantage in communication. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of back to just being worried about the duo lane. I need my duo lane to chill. Stay safe, boys. This will not be easy. And I picked something where I need farm. I won't really be online until I have like 3 items. You used your last Q, compadre.
Don't even worry about it.
It's my last Q either way, so you're not entirely wrong. Well. Steph, this is gonna be so shitty with Athena and Odin. My lane will be not fun, I think, with Vivas and this Athena. Thor, Athena also gonna be incoming.
Have spawned.
We will see what happens, though. I'm sure it will be fine. Ra and Thor can definitely play support, yeah. They're not, like, super good, but they're fine.
Hog this, mate.
Thor is a good support, I will say. Thor is a pretty good support. He's just better jungle and solo. Ra is a bit of a 50-50 case. Because if he meets something like Sobek, he's not gonna have a good time. He is still a low mobility mage, you know? After all.
An ally has been slain.
No, team.
Your left
Chill.
tower is under attack.
Retreat! Okay.
It's fucking skin. Why is it moaning? Why is the sausage moaning?
On my way.
Enemy missing middle. An enemy has been slain.
Okay. Wow! That was magical!
An ally has been slain. missing middle.
Retreat!
Enemy missing. Killing spree.
That sucks, man. If I just have my dash up.
So much fun.
Curses.
Oh well. It's kind of my bad. I didn't realize he was still level 4. But at least we did get the buff.
On my way. Oh no, not like
Ultimate
this.
is ready.
Okay.
No problem.
Help. Thanks.
No problem. Enemy ultimate incoming.
I mean, it seems over everywhere, man. Already. They just got hella stacked. There's not really much to do about it.
Your left tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack. On my way. An enemy has been slain.
Big comeback time.
Your middle tower is
We killed
under
their
attack.
support.
Gank. Attack.
On my way. Shut down.
You're the life of the party.
I really want us to go in there.
Your left tower is under attack.
Be right back.
Your right tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack.
The little magma shards give you a like just 2+ to your strength and int per stack.
Enemy missing middle.
So they're little permanent buffs you can go pick up.
Killing spree.
Attack the Gold Fury. Yes.
Okay.
Attack the Gold Fury.
Damn, that sucks.
An ally has been slain. Your team has
Like they don't matter a whole lot if you don't like if you only get, you know, like 1 or 2, but they're gonna make a pretty nice difference if you end up getting like 10 throughout the game. Right now they're pretty valuable to pick up in solo. They're honestly more valuable than like back camps and stuff.
Your middle tower is under attack.
It's just they're a bit further away. And you don't want to end up giving your back camps to your enemy either, so. Because the back camps do give XP, while obviously the small rocks do not.
Enemy missing middle.
Okay.
Enemy missing.
Be careful left.
diving me, 100%. Athena diving.
Your right tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Good job, Emma. Thank you.
Don't even worry about it.
Enemy missing.
You're the life of the party. We'll be right back. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Don't even worry about it.
Your right tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna take TP.
I can't get in there.
Yeah.
Oh no, not like this.
Nice pull, bro.
An enemy has been slain.
Run! No. They're just still
Ah,
here.
nice try, bro.
Your right tower is under attack.
Guess I'm just gonna start warding a lot. Didn't expect Merlin there.
She's built damage, man. That's why she's fucking me up.
I can see that.
On my way.
An ally has been slain.
Oh no, not like this.
Hades is pretty relaxing, but he's also scary to play in this meta now, because everyone is just everyone's souls, all the best souls are full tank.
The pyro
Scary as shit to deal with as Hades, because it takes a pretty long time to get all your damage items online to even fight a tank. Like, you need at least 3 items to even have a chance. Right now I do not. So if Odin goes in on me, he will just poke me way more than I can poke him. Granted, he doesn't heal, but I don't heal very much either at the moment. And I'm much easier to gank than the Odin.
I'll attack the fire.
I mean, at this point, he just has 2 levels on me, so...
be right back.
Be careful, left
Enemy
lane.
spotted.
3 levels, man.
Ally has been slain.
Yeah, just
Your
Athena
team
ult into a
has
dive, man.
destroyed the
There's not
pyro.
much I can do, boys, sorry.
Yeah, same thing's happening right here, so... I'm so far behind.
Your left tower is under attack. Enemy spotted. The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury. Enemy missing middle. Your left tower is under attack.
Literally the hammer and the Sobek are keeping us in this game right now.
Big.
That was impressive.
Your left tower is under attack.
Run.
Throw down.
On my way. Attack.
On my way. An enemy
Nice.
has been slain.
No fear up. That sucks.
Enemy missing. Shut down.
to turn this battle.
Your left tower.
Need healing.
Turn and fight.
I'm just dead.
Just run. No.
Yeah, I can't. I had nothing. I shouldn't have followed at all.
Be right back.
Double kill.
I need to just sit back and farm. Because I'm falling super far behind with these fights. I just don't have the cooldowns to follow up. That's one of the big issues with Hades as well, is that he has very long cooldowns if you don't buy any cooldown. Like if I dash, that shit's fucking 11 seconds right now.
This is not good.
I challenge you.
Of course, man. I'm dead again.
Killing spree. Your left tower is under attack.
Spam shot on worth for Hades? I'm not sure, I haven't tried it.
Killing
I actually forgot it existed.
Good job, bro.
My main reason for going conduit is that if you can't one-shot the
Plural.
wave early, it's gonna feel real bad into a lot of the souls at the moment, and you won't be able to one-shot the wave if you don't have conduit.
shut
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tower is under attack.
Well done, man.
An enemy has been slain.
They'll suffer late game when Athena can't tank anything because she's too squishy.
Oh.
Has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
On my way.
Your middle tower is under attack. Enemy spotted.
Wherever there are gods in the
Your middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack. Shut down. Your left tower is under attack. Your left tower
That's
You need help?
nice.
destroyed.
I should be good.
Anyone got eyes on Athena?
Never mind.
Scared.
He's dead.
Okay, thank you.
Your right tower.
And her ult down.
Your team
Maybe, and her
destroyed the
rotating mid, or on Gold Fury now, Rama. Check Gold.
Yeah, he's on hold. Actually, never mind.
Okay.
An enemy has been slain.
Nice, bro. We do Gold on the way. Got it, bro.
Your right tower is under attack. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Your right tower has been destroyed.
Well,
That's
because he's tough.
That's exactly it. That's my point right there. Motherfucker's tanking the tower as well as me hitting him, and I'm just dead for it because I don't do any damage as Hades. That's the truth.
Has been slain. Deicide.
That's about it.
Oh no, not like this.
No, I don't think Hades with any protection is really worth it. Then you might as well just play something else. If you want to play a Hades type god with protection, you just go Chuck. I don't actually know if they touch towers.
Team has destroyed
I actually have no idea about that. All I know is they touch objectives themselves, like the like jungle monsters and stuff. Like Golden Fire. It's such a bad kill for me to give up to, actually. I just caught up to him.
Attack the fire giant.
Enemy missing right.
Hannah's left with me. But
An ally has been slain.
Adios.
The pirate has arrived. An ally has been slain.
he's back to it.
Enemies at the fire giant.
The enemy team has destroyed the pyramid. Your left tower is under attack. Rampage! Your left tower is under attack.
Defend the fire giant. Gank.
Good luck, game.
Your left tower is under attack.
That sucks, man.
Has destroyed the pyramid.
Unfortunate.
Have been slain. That's too bad.
Probably should have just pre-beast and then insta-ulted. But they burned it so fast anyway. I'm not sure I could have timed it well.
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Personally love the heal on Chalk, whatever seen Chalk uses the Aspect. I don't know if they have different playstyles. They do have different playstyles. Aspect is purely a damage Chalk. You built him full damage. He was really good for a little while.
Has been slain.
He was really good.
Destroyed a
But after they buffed tanks again, it's not really worth it. And they actually, it got bad once they nerfed the income of gold. Because then you couldn't get items as fast. Because late game full Aspect Chalk,
Your right
or full damage Aspect Chalk, is still really good. It just takes too fucking long to get online. It's the same reason why Hades isn't really that good in solo anymore. It's because it takes so long to get items.
Your
It's
right
super awkward.
Phoenix is under attack.
It's fucking over. I just can't play the game in this one. There's always something CCing me when I try to do something. And that is just my ult to get out, which fucking sucks.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. Your middle phoenix is under attack. Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. Your titan is under attack.
Stand your ground.
Flash alert.
My dash is such a long cooldown. Without ult, Hades is just a fucking bot. Legitimately. At least I got a huge kill for that. But my god, is it unplayable as Hades without ult.
Party ends. Just need a breather. I'll be back.
They're just kind of mindlessly chasing for no reason here though, but they could just end.
Killing spree.
Gank.
It's definitely the worst meta I think we've had in Smite 2. Just spaces like the objective burning metas are always so super boring, man. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. Because the smallest lead just snowballs out of control. I think it's so stupid. I do not know what the fuck they were thinking when they made this change. I think they've generally done pretty well with Smite 2 and its updates. And listen pretty well to feedback too, but this ain't the one, man. I need enough gold for Rod. That could be so huge.
On my way. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
2 mid. I think they're probably going to hit gold, Sobek. You need to get out.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Rod. I definitely have damage now. If I can get a good ult off, that'll be great. But Hades also feels a lot worse without Blink. I don't have an easy way of going in outside of dashing, and if I dash, I'm gonna get Athena taunted, meaning I would have to beat. And things just remain awkward.
Oh my goodness, did Amma just solo fire?
Team has destroyed the fire.
Oh lord.
Don't worry about it.
As intended.
You forgot the dagger though, French. Now I have it, and it sucks on me.
No, not like this.
I think French.
It's fine, bro. I don't know how to use it anyway, bro.
I'm gonna just die in my ult. I'm never gonna get the dagger off.
Group up, group up.
Yeah, Fire Giant, like, he's just... The meta is so stupid, man.
Anubis group.
Drop your guard and I'll snatch you from the ranks like a naive gazelle.
Thor's looking for a wall. Maybe we can kill.
Caught him.
Nice.
Nice. Help the Amma.
An ally has been slain.
Ow.
Nope.
Your left Phoenix is under attack.
Sobek, you're a fucking legend, mate.
I was a bit disappointed.
Go left, go left. Oh, left
Yeah,
is gone.
on the way.
Oh no. not
Adios.
like this.
I'm coming.
It's fucking shit, man. They just fucking showed up there. That's...
Yo, what the fuck is this? Whoa, 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 chill, 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 man. Holy shit, chill. Chill! Fuck!
That sucks, man. My ult was up in 3
I need
seconds.
Hussar. I need Hussars. This fucking slow is insane.
That actually sucks, man. I didn't even take it as him baiting us. I just took it as I'm baiting
On my way.
time so that I can get my ult back up. I fucking die as my ult is up in 4 seconds.
Enemies in right lane.
Yeah, Sobek's playing this really well.
It's time to turn this battle.
I think ult.
Pääsi Silvera.
Your right Phoenix is under
On my
attack.
way. Ultimate is ready.
Your right Phoenix has been destroyed.
Hmm.
On my way.
He's doing damage, but not enough.
Your Titan is under attack. You have slain an
Nice
enemy.
wish.
That was impressive.
Smiled
They're
again.
setting up for gold, but probably waiting for a. It's probably a bait Anubis car.
That was mostly the Anubis stun, honestly. I was just lucky enough to get the kill there.
They're not on gold. Maybe we can do it. Did they back?
I'll just push up right, boys. Be careful.
No clue. Oh, Hot Man is on gold.
Can go.
We can do it now.
He jumped.
Dude, it's so cooked with the waves.
I don't know how they let us back into this game.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury. An ally.
Whole team's up. Holy shit.
Adios! Oh, okay, I got stun. What?
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have fought. We
Might
didn't
be
have
it.
aimlets. Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, boys. Got fucking bummed the whole game by vibes, man.
No props. It's just a game.
Your middle Phoenix has been destroyed. Shut down. You have been slain.
Damn.
Nice try.
Yeah, it was kind of the same for me. I played at least pretty badly after they started like just sieging me as well.
Not like this.
I was pretty shit.
game.
It's really bad. Like
GG.
I could have played this better if I was out on an actual tank, but getting camped like that against like a Thor, Athena, Odin, I ain't surviving that as full damage Hades. That ain't happening, man. It was just hard to go in. I think it was kind of a problem with like Athena as well. Like having an instant CC into Hades is really good because if he ever dashes in, you can just use that on him and he won't be able to ult. And before you could counteract that with Blink. Now you cannot do that. Yeah, my lobby was fine. We all kind of know each other here, so I think that's fine. That's fine. Usually they are if we know each other. But yeah, sorry about that, French. I had a hard time playing that game, but that's unfortunately it for me. Don't have time for more today. But I hope we can play more at some other time, French. Maybe we can get some actual games in eventually. Either that or we just see each other on Sunday. The ammo build is OP for objectives. Yeah, it's just broken in general on any ADC, I think. But Amma definitely amplifies it with her one, that's for sure. You have to play tanks in solo right now, it feels like. Otherwise that shit happens. I think I could have done more on Gep even in this game. But anyway.